Hello friends, it's Kat from Meow Kapow. I've got another super fun art stuff subscription unboxing, this time from Paletteful Packs. If you're not already familiar with Paletteful Packs, they're a small US father and son run company that provides monthly creative boxes for kids, adults, professionals, and everyone in between. Check out the doobly-doo for their website. What I think is most interesting and unique about their box design is that each month they specifically curate 3 different but related boxes for the varying age and skill levels I mentioned earlier. The one I received is the Petite box, which is their middle-of-the-road box. If you're not sure whether or not the subscription box thing is your jam, this is probably where you'd want to start. Full disclosure, I did receive this box free of charge, but if you've seen any of my reviews before, you know I do my best to stay completely honest about my experiences. One of the things I thought was interesting was that the well-inked box I received last month had a few of the same supplies that the Paletteful Packs box included, like the black paper notebook from talaq, as well as the Uniball Signo broad pen. If you'd like to know more about my experiences with those two materials, I recommend you check out that review. While I often look to subscription boxes for new and exciting supplies that I might not have come across before, I think that most people won't happen to be subscribed to exactly those two boxes, so rather than welcoming these supplies as an old friend, I'm going to review this box from the point of view of someone who would be receiving this set fresh. What I really liked about the selection of things inside this box is that they all very clearly were meant to go together, and Paletteful Packs' goal is to make sure that everything you'd need for a project is provided in each box. The only thing I needed to provide myself was a pencil sharpener, and frankly, I'm actually pretty happy there wasn't one included since I'm sure that there have been in the past and will be more in the future. One of the things that seemed most interesting to me were the Stabilo soft pastel pencils, because while there were only 3 of them, each of the colors were very vibrant and exciting, and they blended out really nicely with just a finger. After just sort of briefly testing the supplies, I decided to jump in without any real plans and just let the doodles come to me. Pretty much every single one of the supplies in the box, except for the Pentalic metallic pencils and the silver pit pen, smudge and leave some amount of residue on the opposite page. So if you plan to use these things, just make sure to either work on one side of the page only, or accept that all things in this life are both temporary and meant to change, and resign yourself to enjoying the transformation of your work. Speaking of the Pentalic metallic pencils, they were the only thing that I wasn't 100% hype over. The lead inside was really stiff and completely unblendable, so you basically just had to accept that anytime you used them, you had no hope of making a completely smooth area with them. Their color payoff, especially compared to the other materials, was moderate at best. They were used very heavily in my portrait of Raven from Teen Titans, and I can say definitely that I didn't get nearly as much joy using them as any of the other tools. The silver pit pen was actually both a really good and a really not good tool, all in one. On one hand, the color payoff is great, and it definitely seems like it will write on a lot of different surfaces. On the other hand, if you use it too quickly to, say, fill in large areas, the ink sort of clumps up around the tip and is weird. The pen tends to dry out quickly as a result, but the clumps of ink left on the paper that look kind of like eraser dust crumbles stay wet for a really long time. By the end of this page, the pen was having trouble staying fresh and ready to go, and while I know this wasn't exactly a delicate way of using it, there's no reason it should be almost dry already. When I'm judging these art supply subscription boxes, I like to think about 2 main things that matter to me. 1, can you make a project out of all of the materials included? And 2, did this make me excited about a supply that I haven't tried before? And the answer is yes. I'm totally into the Stabilo Carbethol pastel pencils and would love to get my hands on some more in the future. They blend really smoothly and their colors are really vibrant. All the fun of chalk pastels with none of the mess on your fingers. Well, as long as you don't use your fingers as your primary blending tool. I'd also like to talk about the value for money here. As noted before, the Petite box I received is priced at just under $30, and I thought I'd compare the prices they listed on their supply card to the prices of the same things on Amazon. Sometimes I had to settle for close enough when it came to a material, like how the 4x6 Pentalic book isn't available on Amazon, but a larger size one is for $8. Other times, I had to do some simple math to figure out how much each pencil cost, like how a 12 set of Pentalic metallic pencils costs almost $18, so each pencil is about $1.50, so 6 of those would be roughly $9, which is about $4 more than what Paletteful Packs had that item listed as. When it all comes down to it though, Paletteful Packs valued their box at $33.22, and my Amazon comparison came down to a very similar $32.74. regardless, that's still actually worth more than the $29.95 that they charge for this box. So, value for money? You're getting a lot of bang for your buck as a customer. And even if you don't like all the materials in the box, or you do like them but you've already got a million Uniball Signo pens, seriously, I am never going to run out of white gel pens in my entire life. I can't say there was anything in here that was utter trash. So, in my opinion, Paletteful Packs is totally worth it, and I can definitely recommend them if you're looking for a well-rounded supply box, especially because past boxes have included all sorts of different supplies such as acrylic gouache paint, oil pastels, acrylic paint, watercolors, and on and on and on. This is not just a drawing or sketching box where you'll only get pens, pencils, and markers every month. There is the potential to explore entirely different mediums that you've been curious about but not known where to start with. I hope someday I'll get to play with one of their paint boxes, or maybe even something totally crazy that I've never come close to trying before, since I definitely believe they have the ability to surprise, delight, and slightly confuse their customers. Ambiguity can be fun if it forces you to think creatively on your toes. Until I see you next time, I wish you peace, love, and sparkles. Bye!
Also, oh my gosh, look at that sweet boy. Look at him.